Okay.
Now you can
Okay,
hear me
before
okay.
Mike starts, I'm going to mute everybody. So
Yeah.
Mike, you'll need to unmute yourself. And
Okay.
Tamara, you probably need to unmute.
Oops. Can everyone hear me? Thumbs up.
Mhm.
Thumbs up.
All right, good job. All right, first picture.
Okay, can I just say a couple things before we go?
Yes.
Okay, so I think I know most of you guys, but my name is Mike Busby. I've been shooting professionally for a couple of years. I'm looking at the image and I'm not looking at faces, so it's like really weird to talk. So anyway, thanks for having me for judging. And just a couple of comments, and this is what I say whenever I judge, is I'm just one individual. And when we have images that are judged by one individual, then they tend to be more subjective. So if the stuff I say rings true with you, then use it. If I say something, because I'm going to be commenting on all the images, but if I say something that feels really, really wrong, just kind of junk it and let it go. With my school of photography, I've moved away from judging and critiquing, and I've moved more towards photo appreciation, where we're not so much worried about, the specific quality of a specific image, but really what are the strengths of that image? Because when we start looking for the strengths, then that's what we start bringing forward to the next image. Certainly if there's any critiques or any criticisms, they need to come up, but that's not the spot we want to be in. I probably had other things to say, but I've forgotten them. So I'm ready to go.
All right. All right, first picture, Tamara. Derelict.
So in reviewing the images, I've moved to a philosophy of I'm really looking forward. I'm looking for to what's the strong area. I'm all over the place. I'm looking towards what's the strong area of interest. Where does my eye go? Then I'm looking for what creates interest, kind of where the mind wants to explore, how it builds context to the image. And then finally in an image, I'm looking towards how are we keeping the viewer inside the image. So that's kind of the three criteria that I'm looking for. Starting off with this image, I think the building is a strong center of interest. I can't quite see the full right side, so just gonna have to bear with me. So I think it's an interesting image. It's got a lot of shapes. It's got big shapes. After the eye hits there, it then looks around through the textures to build context. I did find the walls on the side that are graffiti. I found that to be an interesting touch. I think it adds to the image. The only criticism, I can't see it on the screen, but on the far right wall, there's kind of a very vivid red right next to the edge. That's a little bit of distracting. It's also taking my eyes away from the main part of the image and to the side. So having said all of that, composition 4, impact 4, and technical 4.
Derelict by Lori Carlton Smith, 12 points.
Hey, Mike, you can move that out of your way.
Okay.
Or is it the pictures of the people that are
Look
in your
at
way?
that. Look at that. Okay, Tamara, you're hired. You're my new tech expert.
Oh, don't say that yet. Look what I just did.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sure. So something else I want to say about images, and sorry, I keep interrupting. When I enter professional competitions, this is national and the international level, I'm not necessarily looking for the knockout shot. I'm looking for the shot that is solid across the board. How that translates to you is that if I were in one of your competitions, I'd be looking at images that I think are going to get strong 4-4-4s across all three categories. Because if I get all 4s across 3 categories, that means that image is standing out above the rest across the board. And that makes it a standout image. You may remember last year, I suggested that, if we get, 12s and 4s across the board, you should be feeling pretty happy about those. Okay.
Okay, next picture. Her special day.
So this is a nice shot. It's a lovely shot. She's looking fabulous. He's looking a little bit out of the picture. So he's looking off to the side, just kind of emotionally to me. He's probably just looking for something, but emotionally he looks just a little bit outside of the shot. The pluses for this image is the rim light on the hair, the wedding veil coming out, the little bit of light on the flower and her pose. I think it looks fantastic. Maybe another shot with him looking forward could have really helped the image. So composition is 4 due to his pose, impact is 4, and technical is 3.
Okay, so I have to change the score. You said 443?
I'm sorry, composition 3, impact 4, technical 3.
Okay, so Her Special Day by John Klekus, 10 points. On Point.
So this is a good example of an image that probably has aesthetic appeal to the maker, but in a competition, it may have hurt itself a little bit. This was also a smaller image, but right off the bat, I mean, it's a beautiful shot, the blues and how they're laid out there. The square crop is really, really cool. The criticism is the purple vignette. It feels to me like the purple is really detracting from the blue, and it's really drawing the eyes to the edges of the image. My recommendation is, rather than have the lavender, would have been just maybe darkening down the edges, and that would have made that real centerpiece pop. This is also the distinction again between something you may be entering, what you might do for a competition piece versus the purple, if it's a strong aesthetic appeal to the maker. Then leave it that way. So On Point, composition is 4, impact is 4, and technical is 3.
On Point by Nancy Wagner, 11 points. Palouse Road.
So this is a cool shot, and I think it's compositionally strong. We've got the road that's right up close. It leads into the image. And something that's really important with leading lines is that we have something that break the lines before they go out of the shot. So if you look at the image, you can see the curve, and then as it goes around, it disappears behind the hill. That's a traditional, that's a great compositional piece. When I was first looking at the image on my screen, it looked like it had a touch of a blue cast, but now I'm not necessarily seeing it. So that could just be a little bit of differences in the monitor. So composition is 4, impact is 4, and technical is 3.
Palouse Road by Steve Whitaker, 11 points. Peaceful Beauty.
So this image came up and my first reaction was, wow. Anytime when you have a reaction like that, it's a good thing. I also do a lot of macro photography, so I can get rather critical on the macro photography, but this is a shot that has just about everything you want. Nice, strong center of interest. It's sharp in the center, and then it's got those lovely colors around it that blur out. That blur acts as a natural vignette. We have contrast between the sharp middle and the blurred sides. So that just encourages the eye to stay in the center and look around. So great piece. Composition 4, impact is 5, technical is 4.
Peaceful Beauty by Dorothy Detler, 13 points.
So this is another image. And when this one came up, my first thought was, that's pretty cool. And this is really well done. It's got a really nice quality to it. And the strength that's coming out is the light of the flowers is a stop or two brighter than the background. So those flowers are just really, really popping. I don't know if those are, you know, every once in a while I kind of cross cultural barriers and make mistakes. I don't know if those are markers or like headstones or if they just were stumps. Something that could strengthen this image, are there like two white discs near the bottom? Those are a little bit distracting. If they were gone, then the image would be strengthened. I wasn't there. I don't know if they can be moved or not. So it's just a comment. But the eyes go right to the flowers. Then it starts looking around the image at all those interesting textures. Just a really cool piece and very well done. So composition is 4, impact is 4, and technical is 5.
Sunbeam from Heaven by Dorothy Detler, 13 points. All right. Sunrise in Venice.
So this is a cool shot. This is a dramatic shot. My eye is going right to all that red on the horizon. So if that was the intended center of interest, great job. If the light or the boats were the intended center of interest, then it's missing it just a little bit. This is one of those images where you can't, you know, change things. In a perfect world, I'd love to have that tarp off of those boats, only because with the tarp, the image is dated. It feels really current. If the tarp was gone, then I think it'd feel a little more timeless. But again, not something that can readily be done. This may be a touch oversaturated. It kind of goes into maker's choice, I would say. So composition is a 4, impact is a 4, and technical is a 3.
Sunrise in Venice by Donald Burnell, 11 points. Takeoff.
So a striking image and something that's really cool, something we like to see in a strong image, visual tension, visual motion, because when we take a photograph, it makes a static view of something and everything stops. So when we can imply motion or capture motion, that really adds to impact. Secondarily, I also really like the crop on this shot. The crop is lengthy on the top side, which matches the lines and the dimensions of the bird. So very nicely done. Composition 4, technical 4, and whoops, composition 4, impact 4, technical 4.
Hey, Takeoff by Rosemarie Bisyar, 12 points. The Burning Bush.
So this is a very striking shot, very vivid, very colorful shot. Something that's interesting with this, well, first, the eye is going right to the tree, kind of to the lower part of the leaves, right where there's a lot of green in the background. That's the highest area of contrast. That's where the eye is going. The green looks, the palette color looks to be just a little bit off from what's natural. That's kind of a judgment call. I might suggest maybe just desaturating that a little bit, or maybe just darkening it down a little bit. It could very well have been exactly the way it looked, just an observation from the judge. Another interesting aspect of this is the tree and the grass is very vivid next to the background, which, you know, seems a little bit muted. It's got the fog in the back and the light. Very nice image, and composition 4, impact 4, technical 4.
The Burning Bush by Tim Lesser, 12 points. Up Close and Personal.
So the cool thing with this image is, again, we're looking for visual tension, visual movement. This image also, because we know what it is, we know that bull is very, very heavy. So there's a big sense and strong sense of mass going against the guy. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I see some visual tension in the shot. This is just a suggestion, not a criticism, but that shot might be really, really cool if you were to crop in from both sides and down a little bit, make it a little bit more of a vertical, and just really kind of get that head and shoulders and the front feet of that bull. Zooming in like that, cropping in like that is going to make the shot look more intimate. And I think it's also going to give the bull a greater sense of mass, which is going to increase the impact of the image. Impact of the image. So composition 4, impact 4, and technical 4.
Up Close and Personal by Maxie Adams, 12 points. Okay, this is our last digital general color. Oh, Tamara? Tamara? Oh, this is the last one in digital color. Weather vanes.
Sorry, I was trying to talk, but my space bar wasn't working. I was trying to say the same thing you were saying, is that this is our last image.
Okay.
This one is.
So this is an image that's really cool because of all the shadows. It has large shapes, it's got strong lines, it's got the shadows of the weather vanes. All of those are things that are creating a lot of, they have a lot of contrast, and they're really catching the eye. So I think that part is really cool. It's unique, and it's not something you see very much. What I might suggest is if you look up into the very upper left-hand corner, that looks just to be a touch overblown. If you can maybe use the highlights up in that corner to maybe tone it down. Or if your Photoshop skills are strong enough, you could actually sample from along the top of the siding, and then just clone a little bit over that whiting. It would bring it down. And then the other suggestion is the bottom feels visually heavy, and it feels that way because of the really big black area. If you were just to crop up a little bit, well, that was the advice when I was looking at it, was to crop up from the bottom, but then the dimensions may not look entirely right. So try cropping up from the bottom, see if that works for you, and if not, then leave it the way it is. Composition 4, impact 4, and technical 3.
Weather Vanes by Butch Shop, 11 points. So we have 2 pictures in digital general monochrome. Badlands.
Okay, so I spent quite a bit of time on this image. When I first looked at it, my eyes want to go to the sky, and they want to try to make sense out of the clouds. And it looks to me like the sky may have been toned down, maybe just a little too much. As I started looking for a center of interest, nothing was really coming out, because my eyes went to the sky, then it'd go down to the white down below. And then it just kind of roamed the center area. So the composition isn't really great on this. However, if you were to take your hands and crop down from the top just to the top of the rock, and then take your other hand and crop up just above the white, to me, that image just goes nuts. It really pops. That front big rock really pops out. There's a lot of textures in there, and the eye really roams around. So in terms of an overall score, composition 3, impact 3, and technical 3. But I think this is an image that just even with a couple of crops, it would create a lot of impact and would be visually more stunning.
Okay. Badlands by Donald Burnell, 9 points. Okay. Clint Eastwood comes to town.
Okay, this is an image I want to talk about just a little bit. So something that's really, really cool with this image is that wagging is really up close, but the image is sharp all the way into the distance. This is one of those images that you can feel your eyes changing focus as it looks at the wagging, and then as it looks in the distance, you can almost feel your eyes changing focus to accommodate that, even though in reality it's a two-dimensional flat screen. So the maker just created something that has a lot of visual depth in it, and that physical change with the focus is something that a lot of artists go for. A lot of textures, a lot of shapes. The criticism on this shot is going to be that upper left-hand corner. It looks pretty blown out, and it is competing with the coolness of the rest of the image. This is one of those images, though, that if you were to take your hand and crop down from the top, crop out most of the sky just to a little bit above the hill, then the crop turns really, really wide. It emphasizes the wagging, it emphasizes the distance, and to me, that town really pops, and it gets rid of that problem area in the upper left-hand corner. So this is an image that I think could get more points, but as is, and this is mostly due to that big white spot, composition 3, impact 4, and technical 3.
Clint,
This is an image I think could easily get to a 13 or a 14 though.
cool. Clint Eastwood comes to town by Gary Miller, 10 points. Now that's the end of our general. So Lynn, do you want to take a break now?
How many more images do we have altogether?
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Do we want to stop at like maybe number 21? Because we had a total of 41 pictures altogether. If we take a break after number 21, that puts us halfway through.
Sorry, my computer mouse doesn't work. I was gonna say, or we could do what we've done in the past. What Dennis has done before is we'll just do the monochrome first and then come back and do color.
We could do that. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 7 monochrome.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay,
Okay. And then we'll take a break and come back to the color after that.
sounds good.
Okay.
So Tamara, that first
Yep, I'm getting
picture
it.
is companionship.
There you go.
Okay, companionship.
So again, I do a lot of close-up photography and a lot of macro photography. I can get quite critical with it. But this just was astoundingly cool to me when it came up. It's done really, really well. As a general rule, I try to stay away from text because text can really be a distraction. But just the way it's done, your eye goes right to that big coin that's slightly off-centered. It's got all those curves. The one coin has part of a story to it, but as you look around the corner, the coin in the lower left-hand corner just adds to the story. The textures on the coins are really, really cool. They're all preserved. You can see a lot of wear on that bottom coin, which now adds a lot of time, the passage of time, usage. And also that's something that's kind of cool is because the coins on the sides are clipped and in halves, the mind naturally thinks that there's a lot more coins around it. This is an image that really stood out to me. A minor criticism is on the main coin that says food, whiskey, girls. It's just a touch soft, but that's just kind of the nature of macro photography. So composition's a 5, impact is a 5, and technical 5. Very well done.
Companionship by Tamara McGee, 15 points.
Woo!
Girl. All right. Here we go. Family ties.
When I'm quiet, it's just because I'm moving around the window with everyone in it. So this is just a really, really cool portrait. It looks like a semi-candid, but the expressions are great. The lighting is great. A particular note on this is I don't know how the light is, but light can be super problematic with glasses. But the glasses were handled very, very well. The only criticisms was the brick in the upper right corner seemed a little bit bright, so I might suggest toning that down. And then the pattern on her shirt by her shoulder, that's distracting from the faces a little bit. So we look at the faces, but our eyes want to go down there. And we really don't want distractions in that lower right-hand corner because that's an exit point. It's natural for us to look at that part of an image and then pop out of it to look at the next one. But just a really solid, really nice portrait. So composition is 4, impact is 4, and technical is 4.
Family Ties by Elaine Giordoni, 12 points. Fetch.
So this is a nice image. This is an image we all can relate to. Again, we like visual attention, visual movement, and I'm not exactly sure what the kid has, but clearly it's in motion and we know what's going on. If this was a shot that we could have got some angles in, that maybe we shot the kid when he was releasing it and maybe the body was a little bit of an angle or the dog was maybe perched down. I realize this is a candid and kind of this is what you got. But if we had a little bit more angles, this image would have popped even more. Otherwise, it's a solid image. Composition 4, impact 4, and technical 3.
Fetch by Lori Pence, 11 points. Forever Friends.
So this is a great shot because I wasn't necessarily sure what it was about. So Forever Friends, that's implying to me intimacy, really being close. However, the expressions on the women are rather somber. I'm not sure if they're nude under the shawl or not. That's kind of the sense that's coming forth. If they are, then it's really projecting a strong sense of vulnerability, them being close. And what I'm getting from the image is some kind of shared loss or an experience of loss that they both have. If that's not what the maker was going for, that was just my interpretation. So it's nicely done. If in fact it does have something to do with shared loss and closeness, I might suggest cropping in on them and getting closer, and you'll get more of that intimate feel. And I think it'll make the emotional part of it even stronger. So composition 4, impact 4, technical 4.
Forever Friends by Butch Shop, 12 points. Morning Walk.
So this image came up on my screen and compositionally, I just kind of went, wow, that's that's really cool. It's a super strong composition. It's got a lot of depth. It's got leading lines. It's got all those curves. It looks to me like it may have been just a touch over sharpened, but I think it's within the zone of where it needs to be. This is more of an observation and a comment to the maker. Just looking at the image, if you can kind of see the bridge around the edges, that plane that's facing us. And then if you look at the ground where the shadow is, I would expect those tones that if all of that was in shadow, I'd expect them to be more of the same tone. So that may be the way it looked. I might be inclined to darken around that plane around the edge of the bridge, just to darken it down a little bit. It would fit with the other shadows, and I think it would act as a natural vignette and strengthen the image even more. So composition 5, impact 4, technical 4.
Morning Walk by John Lepper, 13 points. See there.
So this is kind of a cool image. It's an image of an art piece, and shooting art can kind of be tough. If we shoot the whole scene, then it kind of comes across as we're shooting someone else's work. I like the name. I like the tones in this image. What I might suggest to the photographer is that if they were to take a knee and either be on level with the piece or maybe even a little bit below, and maybe even crop in a little bit, that'd get rid of some of the dead space off to the right. I think that could really pop the image and make it a lot more impactful. Looking at it on this screen camera, I am going to make one change. So composition is 3, impact is 4, and technical is 4.
Okay.
For whatever reason, the tones in that image look really, really good.
Okay, hold on here. All right. Oops. All right. See there. By Sister Madonna, 11 points. And our next picture is our last one for whatever we're doing here. Monochrome. Stripes.
Yeah, so this is an image I wanted to talk about. It scored pretty well, but I think it could score really, really high. Great shot of the zebras. You may notice that the one zebra that's kind of looking for us has a lot of light on its face. And then the next two over, it's a little bit darker. I like how the photographer captured the zebras. What I might suggest, though, is there are some really strong design elements with those stripes, and they've been brought out because they are black and white. I might suggest to the maker to make it kind of a panorama, a lengthier panorama that really focuses on the heads of the 3 zebras that are kind of in the center, and maybe just a little bit to the back of the I was going to say the 3rd zebra. You don't know what that means, but the zebra to the left. I think if you were to do kind of a tight panel with the 3 heads, wow, I think those design elements are just going to pop, and it'll be super dramatic. As is, good score, composition 4, impact 4, and technical 4.
Okay. Stripes by Harvey Brown, 12 points. All right. Lynn?
All right, let's take a break for 10 minutes. That'll make us here at 7:45. But be sure to visit during this break because that's the only chance we get. So it would be nice if we could meet in person, and I look forward to that. Meanwhile, go ahead and unmute yourselves and chat.
All right, Moon, move. Thank you.
So, Dorothy, you want to mute everybody again?
Yes, I will.
Let's go.
Okay. Oops.
Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm kind of, where are we here? All right, this is digital subject color. First picture, a hike in the woods.
So interestingly enough, this is just kind of what I was talking about with my own kids. We got two little kids going down a path. We've all seen it. We can all relate to it. I think what's really cool about this shot is the bright colors on the little girls. They define a lot of personality for them. Outgoing, fun is what's projected. I may be off. It looks like it's just a touch tilted to the left. So do a check on, make sure it's straight. But otherwise, composition 4, impact 4, and technical 3.
All right, Hike in the Woods by Donna Larson, 11 points. An Autumn Stroll.
So we've got another couple people walking down a trail. Same kind of things apply. This has a lot of color. It's got a lot of fall colors. She's wearing red. The other colors are fairly neutral, so everything is working really, really well together. Holding the hands expresses some intimacy. I think there is a sense of two people walking through life together. Interestingly enough, if you would have taken this shot and then maybe waited for them to get a little bit further down the path, that may actually emphasize the feeling of time and how long that they may have been together. So composition 4, impact 4, technical 4.
An Autumn Stroll by Donna Larson, 12 points. Animal Attraction.
So we've got a shot of the two zebras. This one has been cropped in a little bit more. It's kind of an animal portrait. One of the interesting effects is whether it's people or animals, the more we crop in, the more intimate the shot becomes. Expressions of love are universal and feeling that here. This shot may have been a good candidate for the black and white. It looks like there's some reds or maybe they're dark browns. Because their color, they are competing, those ridges on the tops of the manes is what I'm talking about. Because their color, they are competing a little bit with the faces. Black and white may change that. But otherwise, just, it's just, you captured a really great moment. So composition is a 5, impact is a 4, and technical is a 4.
Animal Attract. Go ahead, Mike.
But it's just a great shot.
Okay. Animal Attraction by Elaine Giordoni, 13 points. Best Friends.
So this looks to me like it's a candid shot. Clearly there's a friendship and then the laughing between the two girls. Couple things that in the image I looked at a little bit earlier, the legs were on the girl on the left were a little blown out. However, they're looking really, the tones are looking good right now. If these are, so it's a good shot, but if there was a way that you could restage this shot and maybe get different clothes on them, something that may be a little more muted, a little bit more natural, because the eye wants to go to the Batman shirt, then the white shirt, then the bright legs, and we're kind of missing the horses in it just a little bit. I'm going to make a little bit of a score change on this one. The image I had looked at on the screen also looked like it had a little bit of haze in it, but I'm not seeing it on this one. So composition is 4, impact is 3, and technical is 4.
All right. Oh, it did change. Okay. Best Friends by John Lepper, 11 points. Close companions.
So this is an image I wanted to talk about as well because it did okay. And I think this is one of those images that can really, really pop with a couple of things. We got the repetition in the patterns of the turtles captured really, really well. But we do have a lot of grass on the left-hand side, and there's a lot of open space on the right-hand side. It is our nature that when we see something like this, we want to shoot it and we want to capture everything. And in doing so, we get it, but it makes the composition really, really tough. My recommendation would be if you were to make this a vertical and just compose just over the turtles. So all the grass is gone, all the green is gone to the right, and maybe a cutoff is from the top down is on some of the turtles that, you know, from the top down, it cuts off the turtles. So it actually kind of implies that there might be more out there. It gets in a little bit closer. It's a little more intimate. However, so I think it could be a shot that could get a lot of points, as is the composition is 3, impact is 4, technical is 4.
Close companions, excuse me, by Steve Shining, 11 points. Companions for life.
So this is a really nice shot. I'm not sure if the word companions is really coming across. I'm kind of feeling like I'm the one in the back and I just did something wrong and my wife is coming to talk to me about it. However, and also it looks a little bit tilted. So maybe a little bit of a rotation, level it out a little bit. But otherwise, I really like the tones. This is kind of a tough shot. Anything with white birds is tough, but the details are kept throughout. So just a nice solid shot. Composition is 3, impact is 4, technical is 4.
Companions for Life by Gary Miller, 11 points. Family companionship.
So again, another cool image, a wildlife image. This is going to be one of those images that the photographer shot this and this is what they were able to get. And then the judge is going to nitpick a little bit with the distractions. You know, you shoot what you shoot to get, and then we go from there. So this is a cool shot. It looks like a mother child shot, which is always cool, which is also universal and people understand. There's a little bit of dead space to the far left and maybe a little bit to the right. We've got some branches that are right there that are very bright, right under the mother's jawline and on the neck. If we could maybe mute those a little bit, that would be cool. And then finally, it looks like there's a little bit of a yellow cast to it. If there is, and if your Photoshop skills are there, just go into the white balance and add a touch of blue, and the lighting will look a little bit better. My other recommendation is, if we were to make this a vertical and cropping from the left, just so we take out that tree, and then we cropping a little bit from the right, that could really pop the animals, and then they become a strong center of interest, and we lose some of the distractions that are around the edge. Shot as is, composition 4, impact 4, technical 3.
Family Companionship by Beverly Harden, 11 points. Gathering.
Yeah, so this image came up and I tried to make some meaning of it and really couldn't get there. I get the idea of gathering. I see all the red and I'm sure there's some sort of association there. So this shot for the group is going to be pretty cool to them. But from a broader audience, there's not a lot of context. I do like this shot though, that it was shot from above, which is a unique angle, which certainly adds to composition. So composition is 4, impact is 3, and technical is 3.
Gathering by Sister Madonna, 10 points. Here's Looking at You.
So this is an image that I gave a little bit of time to. I think it's a strong image. It looks like the noses are touching. When I looked a little bit closer, I think one is actually a little bit behind, but first impression is the noses are touching. And then the photographer made sure those antlers were in place as well. It looks like there's a little bit of darkening on the very edges on the left and right. Darkened just a touch too much, and I think it's competing a little bit. And then it's my sense, and maybe, I don't know if I'm right or not, but this may have been shot in the shade, which means that there might be a little bit of a blue tone in this. It was caught in the moment, probably could never get that configuration again. But if we could have been down a little bit, maybe on their level or shooting up, I think that would have strengthened the image. But otherwise, I might suggest cropping this so it's more of a square with the animal heads in the center. I think that's going to pop the heads, and it's going to emphasize the emotion there, and it's going to get rid of the vignetting on the sides. So it'll help with that. So otherwise, composition 4, impact 4, technical 3. I might suggest on this one, whenever you shoot in the shade, the light is blue, whether you're under a tree, whether it's an object in the shade. If you're ever out on the Palouse and there's a lot of skies, things turn blue. So I don't know if I'm not 100% on this one, but if you are shooting in the shade, move your white balance just a little bit to the yellow, and sometimes those images will really pop.
Okay. Here's Looking at You by Steve Whitaker, 11 points. Lifetime Companions.
Yeah, so this image pops up, and it was kind of a wow image for me. The bright, vivid colors, a scene we've all kind of seen before, but just gorgeous with that yellow water. Also of note to me were the markings, especially on the male. The quality on the male just looks outstanding. The tones are great, the colors are great, things are sharp. This is just an image. If it's hanging on a wall, people that walk by are gonna, see it. They're gonna stop. They're gonna take a look at it. Great first impression, and that's what we want. So composition is a 4, impact is a 5, technical is a 5.
Lifetime Companions by Steve Shining, 14 points. Monkey Business.
So this is kind of a interesting image. Just right off the bat, there was a little bit of conflict in kind of the energy and the motion of the image. So we have the two monkeys that are preening each other, rather soft, kind of serene kind of feel. And then we have the monkey in the back doing the monkey business, right? Those are sending me kind of mixed messages that don't necessarily coalesce. So if the maker, if this is like really cool to you, absolutely keep it the way it is. If I were to be entering this into composition, I would focus more on the two monkeys that are preening themselves, grooming each other, and maybe crop out the other, and that would get a really nice, soft, emotive feel. So composition is 3, impact is 4, technical is 3.
Monkey Business by Lori Carlton Smith, 10 points. Not tonight.
So this is just a really solid image. This is an image that we easy to humanize. We have an idea of what's going on. For the maker, I mean, the quality is great, the story is great, the animals are great. This is one I might even crop in a little bit further and just really crop into, that, crop up a little bit, crop over from the left, and just really get those two faces just center and big and large, and that's going to pop the emotion in it. Super solid image, composition 4, impact 4, technical 4.
Not Tonight by Harvey Brown, 12 points. Okay, let's go.
Okay, so this is a cool image, and this is going to be one of those images that it's going to have a lot of meaning to the subject. The expression is there. We know what's going on. I'm not sure if I'm seeing the excitement in the dog that matches the okay that lets go. And then along the left side of her face, it's just blown out a little bit. It looks like we've lost some of the textures in the whites, which hurts the technical. But otherwise, if this was a shot of my friend, it's a shot I know they would want to have. So composition is 3, impact is 4, technical is 3.
Okay, Let's Go by Jean Ullman, 10 points.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
sorry.
it's all good.
Title is
So-
Party of 3. I'm sorry, I was looking at the picture.
No, it's all good. When this image came up, I laughed, I chuckled, which is a really good indication of a strong image. This one's easy to humanize. These could be 3 of my kids when I gave them a donut. High energy, and all of a sudden they stop and they just eat what's in front of them. So with this one, it had high impact, and the quality of the image was really, really good. That was something else I noticed right off the bat. With this image, I was debating between a 4 or a 5. And I went with a 5 for 2 reasons. The first reason is the photographer, it certainly looks like the photographer got down at their level, which shows me a lot of intent. Also the blurred background in the back. And whether the photographer knew this or not, something that we do in portraiture when we have several people is we want to line them up with each of their heads at different levels. By doing that, it creates a little bit more interest. Our eyes wander around a little bit more. And that was something that stood out with me with this image. So this is composition 5, impact 5, and technical 5. Really strong image.
Party of 3 by Tamara McGee, 15 points. Hey. Pelicans Play.
So I'll talk about high energy, visual tension, movement. This image has got it in all kinds of ways. We see that at the very back with the water that's coming down. I think it's a dam. There's a lot of diagonal lines. The water at the front, there's other diagonal lines. Looks like it's moving to our left that are a different angle than the ones in the back. We've got the lines of the pelican. They're in a pose that we don't normally see. Very strong image, lots of energy. I might recommend though, is that if you were to make this more into a panorama, crop up from the bottom, crop down from the top. I think the visual energy of those lines are still going to be visible and present. And I think it's just going to pop those birds even more. Shot as is, composition 4, impact 5, technical 5.
Pelican,
Sorry,
no,
Colleen.
that's fine.
One other thing I just want to point out is I'm always impressed a little bit by the people who shoot white birds during the middle of the day. I think that can be more advanced photography because it's so easy to blow out those highlights. And this image, all the highlights have textures and they're all present. So really good job.
Pelicans at Play by Courtney Litwin, 14 points. Polar Ambassadors.
So this is a cool shot, and we certainly know the story of mother and child. Also, this shot has some cool textural differences between the ice, between the water, and what looks to be a very, very, very soft bear. This is an image I might suggest to crop in a little bit from the sides. The composition as it is, it's got a little bit of dead space, or a bit of dead space to the right, a little bit to the left. Might try making this a vertical. I think that might bring out the bears more. Again, we've got white animal shot in the middle of the day, and those textures on the bears are really, really cool. Really cool. So I'm changing the score on this one too, because the textures look different on the screen. So impact 4, technical 4, and whoops, composition 4, impact 4, technical 4.
All right. So Polar Ambassadors by Rosemary Bassar, 12 points. Preening Buddies.
So this is an image that I spent quite a bit of time on. Great image, and again, I'm looking for a strong center of interest, and it's kind of there. There are two birds with the orange beaks that kind of look like patterns. So there's one on the right, one on the left. My eyes are bouncing between those two and not really fixating on one or the other. However, after that, there's this really, really cool story because you got all these birds that are all preening themselves. Again, white birds during the middle of the day. And on the screen that I was looking on, there were textures throughout. So it was done really, really well. If you look into the shadows, you can see details in the dark blacks and stuff. The one thing I kind of played with just a little bit was just working on the crop. And if you look to the two birds to the far left, you know, it's probably tough to crop this shot, but if you were to crop just, you know, get past the first bird and past the orange on the second bird, maybe a little bit more, then it feels like there's a strong grouping. There's very clearly one center of interest. So that would be my recommendation. However, it's an outstanding shot. Composition 4, impact 5, technical 5.
Preening Buddies by Beverly Harden, 14 points. Stopping for a cool one after work.
So this was an interesting shot to cover. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. Compositionally, I was trying to get a beat on where is my eye going, and my eye tends to go to the mane of the horse that's closest to us, and then it wants to go to the tail and the hindquarters. And just for me, the hindquarters really aren't an area where I want my eye staying for length of the time. I'd like to see more of the faces and stuff. Just one other criticism is the sky and the field in the background look a little washed out. Might try bringing down the highlights. That might liven it up a little bit. So those are the criticisms. The really cool thing that happened to me with this one, and it was just really cool, is this image popped up and I had an immediate sensation of smelling freshly cut grass. There was a reference that it felt like spring through the sensation of odor. So I want the maker to know that's something that's kind of rare outside of fast food commercials. It's rare. It was really cool. And it was very real sensation. So composition is 3, impact is 4, and technical is 4.
Stopping for a Cool One After Work by Cindy Miller, 11 points. Sunset Rendezvous.
So another interesting image that I spent time on. There's an immediate sense of mood. Compositionally, there was an immediate sense of those horizontal lines. There's the dock, there's the water, there's the hills in the background, and there's a sky. It just looked really, really cool. The differences in height between those bands that go across are all different, which creates more interest. Originally, I didn't know what to think of the chair, because I think that if the chair had been removed, it would have been a stronger image. And of course, that always goes back to, I don't know if you know the couple. I don't know if you want them knowing you're moving the chair so you can shoot them and stuff. And then the final component is the little dog that's looking at us. Something else that's interesting about the little dog is that that's an important design element. And it's really close to the bottom, and it's really close to the bottom edge of the frame. That creates a sense of visual tension. Whenever we put a subject near the edge of the frame, it just causes that visual tension. As I kind of looked on this and reflected on it a little bit, there was also a cool dynamic that, I'm assuming the photographer doesn't know the couple, and it's just a moment in time for them being in the moment, and then there's the dog seeing what's going on. I just thought that was kind of cool. So composition 4, impact 5, technical 4.
Sunset Rendezvous by Lori Pence, 13 points. Tandem Flight.
Okay, so we got a cool shot. We got 2 eagles going at the same time. And I just want the photographer to know that for the last 2 weeks, my Facebook thread has been filled with eagle shots. Okay, so we've been seeing a lot of eagle shots, and I don't know if that's going to influence the judging or not. But this is a solid shot. Clearly you were there on a great day. Cool to see the underline of the feathers and all of that detail. If I were the photographer, I'd talk to the eagles, have them do another flyby, and maybe have the bottom eagle just a little bit back, maybe like 6 inches or so. Would have helped with separation, but that always can't be done. Something else that's interesting about these eagle shots, especially with the way the photographer shot this, these are compositionally tough to put together. Because we have that one angle, and we want to make it vertical. We see a lot of squares. This is one of those shots you may want to even crop in and make it vertical, narrow along the sides of the bird, and then maybe even bring in that crop and crop off maybe the tips of the bird. It's going to make it look very unique. It's going to pop them. It's going to bring out a lot of that detail. And it's something I've done when trying to work with something that's compositionally tough. However, great shot, composition 4, impact 4, technical 4.
Tandem Flight by Courtney Litwin, 12 points. And our last picture of the evening, Travel Buddies.
Yeah, so here's the deal. I've seen people in cars that look exactly like that as they look at me, right? So they're in the seats, clearly caught a moment in time. Just a cool shot, especially with getting those expressions. The faces are competing with the mirror. So that mirror is really, really bright and it's a little bit distracting. But otherwise, I think it's just a really cool shot in time. And I'm going to do just a little bit of change. I had composition at 3, but I'm going to put that up to 4, impact 4, and technical 4.
All right. Travel Buddies by Tim Lesser, 12 points. And that's it. Lynn?
Whew.
Nice job, Mike. Thanks.
Yeah, I never know if I do okay.
Oh, you do wonderfully.
Talking to silence.
Yes,
And
thank you
again,
very much,
again,
Mike.
guys,
It is hard.
if I say things that help, use them for all the compliments and things that stand out. Look for those in the future. And again, if there were criticisms that you don't agree with, or I made comments that were more artistic decisions, then go with your aesthetics.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you a lot, Mike. Also, Mike, could you tell us about your presentation next Wednesday night for Education Night?
Yeah, so something that's real, I'm going to do a brief presentation on professional photographers of Washington and of America. I'm just going to try to keep that to a few minutes, but let you guys know what's going on. I'm currently the vice president, and we're really moving forward. The remainder of it is when I talked first about what I'm looking for, it was strong center of interest, and then area of interest where the mind wants to wander, and then how we keep people in the image. So I've developed a composition class that speaks very specific to that. So we're going to bring up some images. We're going to talk about techniques that make a great first impression. Then we're going to talk about techniques that add context and storytelling to the center of interest. And then we're going to talk about a few techniques that keep the viewer in the image. So it's the compositional and review approach I take with images that seems to be working pretty well.
Thanks, Mike, and looking forward to that. So everybody, put that on your calendar for next week, 7 o'clock, same place, same time.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks,
Mike.
Very, very cool.
Thank you,
Thank
Mike.
you, everyone. Hey,
Great
Evelyn.
job, Mike.
Hey, there's Dennis.
Hey, Dennis.
He popped in.
Hey, thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Okay,
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks, Mike.
Night.
thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
How many